A door with an image of two baby angels blushing. Gabriel's lips twitched as he saw the Uriel star written on the nameplate. Hey. There was no answer when he knocked on the door, thus he did it again. Hey, Uriel! He knocked harder on the door, and there was a groan from beside it. The constellation demon-like judge of fire says to get lost. Gabriel frowned at the indirect message. Do you think I'm happy to come here? I'm here because of my mission. Gabriel sounded like it was annoying just to speak. It had been 2 days since he received the unreasonable assignment from Metatron. He was planning to play around, but Metatron got in front of him. Gabriel, please take over Uriel's mission. In addition, Jophiel will watch Gabriel to ensure he isn't being lazy. Leave it to me. He was placed in a team with the upright Jophiel. Gabriel would rather be in a team with Uriel. Didn't you record your observations of the Demon King of Salvation? I came here to grab it. Open the door. There was a rustling sound from beyond the door. The constellation demon-like judge of fire is asking why you are her successor. Yes, you... Once again, an indirect message rang like a thunderbolt. The constellation demon-like judge of fire says, do you want to come out and say it yourself? The constellation demon-like judge of fire is asking if you are her only successor. Me and Jophiel. A deep sigh was heard beyond the door. After a while, there was a gap in the door and long fingertips emerged. Looking closer, the white fingertips were holding on to something. Gabriel realized its identity and clicked his tongue. USB? Who uses a USB these days? Are you a human? The constellation demon-like judge of fire is warning you not to speak nonsense and take it. Gabriel received the USB and Uriel added. The constellation demon-like judge of fire says it's a secret from the Red Cosmos. Jophiel? Why? Uriel didn't respond and shut the door. Then intermittent sniffling was heard in the distance. Gabriel was about to say something, only to end up pouting. They didn't usually get along, but he became worried when he saw Demon Hunter Uriel like this. Hey, don't tremble. The detainment will be released soon. It's only 3 years. The constellation demon-like judge of fire is shouting at you to get lost. Crazy! I was only trying to comfort. After a while, Gabriel opened the USB in his room, then... What the hell did you do on this mission? Despite his mutters, Gabriel couldn't take his eyes off the footage on the screen. The constellation Lilypin of Aquarius is curious about you. The constellation Lilypin of Aquarius likes looking at you. Jung Hee-won frowned as she heard the voice in the air. Uriel disappeared, and this time a strange constellation clung to her. This wasn't her only concern. Jung Hee-won looked at Kim Dokja, who was wandering in the distance. Why isn't he saying anything? What do you mean? Jung Hee-won turned around and saw Lee Ji-hee closely stuck to her. Never mind. Why? What is it? It's nothing. Uni, are you going to join Kim Dokja's company? Jung Hee-won, who was swallowing the drink she bought from a street vendor, gasped as she choked. What? No. The name is too strange. Isn't it embarrassing to join a place like that? I'm looking forward to it. The company name is a bit strange, but it feels like I'm experiencing the workplace. Perhaps I'll even receive a salary? If you know what a real workplace is like, you'll think differently. Lee Ji-hee pouted. In any case, I'm looking for a chance to join. Master's also there. Yujin Hyuk-shi has already joined? Dokja Ajashi said so. This is Yujin Hyuk and my nebula. Of course, he never said anything like that, but Jung Hee-won reflexively looked up at the sky. However, she didn't hear the indirect message she was waiting for. She felt strangely uncomfortable. The constellation Lilypin of Aquarius dislikes the humor of Incarnation Lee Ji-hee. Jung Hee-won shook her head and looked at Kim Dokja, who was busy in the square. He was so busy she hadn't seen his face for a few days, and she didn't know what she was working so hard on. Then Yu Sang-a's appearance caught Jung Hee-won's eyes. Jung Hee-won waved at Yu Sang-a, who was sitting on a bench and staring blankly into the empty air. Sang-ashi, are you going to join Dokjashi's nebula? Yu Sang-a discovered Jung Hee-won and looked up with surprise. What was this woman thinking about that she lost her soul for a few days? My situation is a bit... That's right, it's tough for Sang-ashi. Yu Sang-a was an incarnation of Olympus. It was a special case where she was supported by an entire nebula, and it would be hard to join Kim Dokja's nebula. It was obvious what would happen if she received the sponsorship only to choose another nebula. Instead, I made an alliance offer. Some of the constellations have a friendly relationship with Dokshashi through me. Don't all of the constellations of Olympus hate Dokshashi? Not all of them. Hiwanshi, did you join the nebula? I'm still thinking about it. Jung Hee-won looked back at the square again. In fact, I'm not sure about joining. There's a problem with my sponsor, and Jung Hee-won's high self-esteem seemed hurt, and Yu Sang-ah smiled gently. I think you'll be a great help to Dokshashi if you join his nebula. I want to help if possible. Fortunately or unfortunately, Jung Hee-won wasn't the only one in a complicated situation. In the middle of the distant square, Lee Hyung-sung sat down like a big bulldog. Next to him were Shin Yu-sung and Lee Gil-young, who were squatting like baby cats as the three of them stared at Kim Dokja. To be exact, their eyes chased after him every time he moved. It was obvious what they were waiting for. Kim Dokja ignored them to the end. There's still no word. Jung Hee-won nodded at Lee Ji-hee's words. He will speak when the time comes. It's because he's a secretly introverted person. Well, she also wanted to know what was going on. A long-awaited peace had come to the party, but Kim Dokja was still thinking about something. Thus, they could only wait while doing nothing. The constellation Lily Pin of Aquarius is looking at you approvingly. The constellation Commander of the Red Cosmos is wary of the Demon King of Salvation. There were strange angels, but so Jung Hee-won wouldn't be bored for a while. Jung Hee-won reluctantly put down her worries. Then, the work suddenly began. Really? There's no way to contact them? The channels leading to the demon world are blocked. It's a powerful enchantment. Han Sooyoung's expression became grim at Lee Suk-young's words. She had been calling the Dokkaebi since a while ago, but none responded. Han Sooyoung looked down at the water bowl that contained the good or bad luck, disaster, or happiness fortune. Misfortune, 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 misfortune. She couldn't count how many times misfortune emerged. What the hell is going on? The last time great misfortune appeared, Kim Dokja had to face a Lokapala of Vedas. However, now there were so many misfortunes. It wasn't a great misfortune, but it should be an extensive misfortune. The water in the bowl trembled and faint sparks appeared. The constellation Abyssal Black Flame Dragon is raising his head. Black Dragon? The constellation Abyssal Black Flame Dragon is looking at the 73rd Demon Realm. Do you know something? Constellation Abyssal Black Flame Dragon is letting out a threatening cry. Her arm wrapped with a bandage was tingling, and sparks appeared around the body that was in sync with the Black Dragon. Hey, dude! The feelings of the Black Flame Dragon were transmitted. The Black Flame Dragon had never acted like this whenever he encountered an opponent. The constellation Expert at Playing Both Sides has pale lips. The constellation Guam Divide Doctor is dripping saliva. The constellation Great King Hyung Chong Hongdog Youngwon Wimu is quietly putting down his sword. The constellation First Spiritualist of Joseon is clearing his traces. The constellation of the Korean Peninsula were turning off their lights. It was as if they were hiding from a predator. Her bandaged arm kept tingling. Han Sooyoung scattered Lee Suk-young's divination and unraveled the bandage to reveal the tattoo of the Black Flame Dragon that was shining. Sparks burst, and Han Sooyoung's right arm wrote letters in the air. A disaster of the stars is coming. Disaster of the stars? What is that? The arrogant Abyssal Black Flame Dragon thought this situation was so urgent he had to manually write. She felt the will of the Abyssal Black Flame Dragon that wanted to stop her from going to the demon world no matter what. Hey, don't make me nervous! Are you doing this again? She had been fooled by the Abyssal Black Flame Dragon more than once or twice. She didn't know what the Black Flame Dragon was talking about, but Kim Dokja had predicted Olympus's invasion of the Korean Peninsula, thus maybe he knew about this situation, no matter what came. There were faint sparks as Han Sooyoung's hand moved through the air like a brush. The 73rd Demon Realm will perish. It was the Breaking the Sky Sword Saint who noticed it first. She was lying on the wall of the industrial complex and dropped the smoking pipe in her mouth. That guy was right. The Breaking the Sky Sword Saint mumbled while the Breaking the Sky Sword emitted a blinding light as it was pulled out. After obtaining the name Breaking the Sky Sword, she held the sword less than 10 times. It was a sword that made her be called the Disaster of Miram. The Breaking the Sky Sword Saint felt the texture of the sword against her palm and felt funny. A disaster. What could be called a disaster? For human beings, disasters were natural phenomena on a large scale. For example, landslides, tsunamis, and earthquakes. They were huge phenomena that the power of humans couldn't resist. For transcendence, it was nothing more than manipulation of physical phenomena. They were existences far beyond human standards. They could cause landslides and tsunamis with a blade that could quiet them. For transcendence, like the Breaking the Sky Sword Saint, the word disaster meant something different from the standards of ordinary humans. Perhaps the Breaking the Sky Sword Saint was facing the answer now. Small sparks bounced, and Kyrgios was suddenly by her side. The aura of electrification was already rising from Kyrgios's body. The Breaking the Sky Sword Saint slowly raised her magic power. The two transcendents looked at the distant end of the void. Kyrgios asked, "Is it him?" It wasn't yet visible to the naked eye, but a presence was clearly headed towards this place. The Breaking the Sky Sword Saint replied in a heavy voice, "There is no doubt. It's the guy who tried to devour the first Miram." Darkness was entering the atmosphere. From the other side of the universe that swallowed up even light, something was approaching while devouring the scattered probability.